He stands out in my mom's backyard and he stretches out his hands like this. He said, "This is all going to be mine." And when I seen him do it, I was grieved in my spirit because I knew he wasn't kidding. I knew he was deadly serious about that shit. I knew he was deadly serious about it. And so, all right, now I'm going to leave you back here a minute because I got some things to say. And then I'll let you. All right. Now, this was, like I said, it's about 15 years ago or more. And when he said that shit, I knew he wasn't kidding. I knew he was being serious. And from that time until this very day, even, have been manipulating my mother against her son. In fact, it is my belief now that they've actually been manipulating my mother behind my back, even when we were still living in Ohio. All right. And they say, "How do you know this?" Well, I'll tell you, there's some things happened in Ohio. All right. And I'm just going to flat out say it. I'm going to say it. I am mad as a fucking wet hen right now. And I'm just going to say it. I'm going to tell the whole goddamn world. And then I'm going to go to the fucking major media with it. They say, "Well, Von, what the fuck happened so long ago?" Back years ago, when I was still married to my first wife, Pamela Sue, I had an agreement with my mother. It was a real simple agreement. It was like, "Hey, I'll take back this $12,000 worth of furniture if you pay off the $8,000 in my student loans." And we'll call it even Steven. I mean, that's totally fair, right? Yeah, totally fucking fair. Okay. That was the agreement me and my mother had. Guess what happened? Can you guess what happened? Yeah, she reneged on the agreement. I took back the $12,000 worth of furniture. But unbeknownst to me, she didn't keep her end of the bargain because someone was squawking in her ear. All that years ago. Was squawking in her ear not to do that, not to keep her end of the bargain, not to keep her agreement. And so as a result, I am totally and completely devastated financially. All right. Totally and completely. All right. I'm up to my fucking eyeballs in debt because of it. All right. Now, who would be that fucking cruel to do that? Well, somebody with an agenda, obviously, right? Someone that has an agenda. And I'll tell you something else too. The hang on, Rosalie, I'll get you in a minute. I got some things to say first. When my parents was down here, my parents ended up getting a divorce after 50 fucking years of marriage. My parents get a divorce out of the blue over allegations of promiscuity, shall we say, that were completely and totally unfounded on both sides of the equation. Because remember, I'm in the middle. I'm looking at both sides. There were lies spread on both sides of that equation, which caused a rift in my parents and caused them to divorce after 50 fucking years of marriage. Well, gee, who would have the motivation to do that? Who would have the motivation to do something like that? Maybe somebody with an agenda. Maybe somebody that had a plan way back while we were still living in fucking Ohio. That had a plan. And then when they got here to Kentucky, they stretched out their arms and said, "This is all going to be mine," because they was thinking about this shit way back in fucking Ohio. What do you think? What do you think, guys? You reckon? That same individual being who lives right down the fucking road from me, just one house down from me on Crane Creek Road in Manchester. Well, actually, we're in Oneida, Kentucky, but we got a Manchester address. Cause a rift between my parents down here in Kentucky? Yeah, I believe it. Did convince my mother not to keep her promise and pay off my student loans so that I wouldn't be eyeball deep in fucking debt. Yeah, I believe he did. I believe he had an agenda from the very beginning, because they were jealous of the fact that mom and dad had money and property and whatnot. It was jealousy. It was a jealousy factor there. All right. And that jealousy factor carried over when they convinced mom to let him come down here. All right. I told my mother, I said, don't bring him down here. I got a bad feeling. Don't bring him down here. And she did anyway, because they were influencing her against her son way the fuck back in Ohio. Way back during my first fucking marriage, which is probably why my first marriage failed, by the way. Now you say, well, Von, that's all speculation. I don't believe so. I don't believe it is. Because when you get people who see that other people are prospering, they get jealous as fuck. And they're willing to do all kinds of weird shit in order to compensate for that. So no, I don't believe I'm reaching at all. And I believe the facts will bear me out on this shit. Now you say, well, Von, what does this culminate to? What it culminates to is that son of a bitch down that road down there has been the cause of all my shit, even shit that happened in Ohio. Now, admittedly, some of it I don't have rock solid proof of, but I'm damn close to getting it. But the facts remain is that when he come down here, he eventually convinced my mother to turn against her own son. That's not in question. That's not in question at all. And his ability to manipulate my mother is also not in question. Because he was able to get my mother, while I'm sitting on the couch watching him, he turns to my mother and says, you need to get Andrea off this property. And she literally, without even batting an eye, gets up, grabs the phone, calls the sheriff. Sheriff comes out. She says, I want Andrea removed from the property. Now, had I known that the property had transferred to me back in 2006, I could have stopped all that shit. But amazingly, I wasn't told anything. I wasn't told any of that information. So I'm still under the, still under the auspices that mom was in charge of the property. And so she's out there talking to the deputy sheriff. And the deputy sheriff is like, ma'am, she's not guilty of anything. And I know she ain't guilty of nothing because me and her had just come back from court. I mean, if we was guilty of something, don't you think them police officers in that courthouse would have arrested us on the spot? Fuck yeah, they would have. So were we guilty of anything? Have we broken any laws? No. We just got back from courthouse. All right. But lied to my mother and me watching, told her that that Andrea had broke the law and that she needed to remove her from this property. And buddy, she did it too, without even batting an eye. Now, here's the fun part. When the deputy sheriff shows up and tells her that Andrea hadn't broken any laws, mom flies into a rage. And her eyes literally become blood red. And she starts screaming at that deputy, I want her off the property now. Like somebody that was demon possessed, even. I'm watching this. But you know who else is watching? My 3 little kids is watching from a fucking window. Watching their mommy getting arrested and dragged away like a fucking common criminal because down here told my mother to do it. And the deputy sitting there checking his computer saying, ma'am, she's not guilty of nothing. What are you talking about? But mom flies into a rage. She was yelling so loud, I guarantee you they heard her down at Rock Castle Church. I guarantee they fucking did. She was yelling so loud. Who has that kind of power over someone? That's incredible. And I saw that shit with my own fucking eyes. That's pretty powerful. That's some powerful shit. I saw that with my own goddamn eyes. Now, the interesting thing is that these aren't even blood to my mother. Are an offshoot from my mother's half brother. My mother had a half brother. All right. And these down here are offshoots from him. So they're not even blood to my mother. Not at all. They're not blood to her. If anything, they're so far out there in the distance, they might as well not even be a relative at all. But see, they come down here and they lie to everybody down here. Oh, that's my aunt, or that's my this, or that's my that. She ain't nothing to them. She's nothing to them. There's a whole flock of Heltons down here. Hundreds of them. There's hundreds of Heltons down here. Am I related to any of them? Fuck no. They got my daddy's name, but I'm not related to a single one of them. And it's a damn good thing, too, because every motherfucker down here, from what I understand, has a criminal record. They're all criminals. All the Heltons down here are. Now, the Heltons in Ohio, the VonHeltons in Akron, Ohio, if there's any left. I don't know if there's any left. Yeah, none of them broke the law, but for whatever reason, all the Heltons down here are lawbreakers. And this is why when the trolls get on the internet, they'll wave a piece of paper and you, oh, here, look here where VonHelton murdered somebody, and look here where VonHelton beat the shit out of somebody. That ain't me. That's these other Heltons down here. My name is VonHelton for a reason. When I got down here, I found out there were several James Heltons down here. They called me. The lady calls me. She says, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, obviously, I have to change my fucking name. I don't want to be accused of murder. Are you crazy?" So I had to change my name. So I put the Von back on there. A Von that used to be on there way back in World War I and before. So, before World War I, actually. So, now, so we fast forward a little bit. All right. And admittedly, try to keep up because this timeline gets really, really weird and really creepy. But you see, when you see how somebody can influence someone like that, scary. That's some scary shit. So now, did he commit elder abuse? Fuck yeah, he did. He lied to mom. Flat out lied to her in order to achieve a result. Now, what would be the purpose of him kicking my wife off this property? Well, clearly, because it's easier to come after me if my wife is not around. It's hard to break up a marriage. It's hard to break up a family. But you get somebody alone, it's real easy to manipulate things then. Isn't it? Yes, it is. All right. So then he then he decides he's gonna renovate my mother's house. Well, gee, why? Once again, he sits down on the couch, turns to my mother, says, "I'm gonna put in your double wide, the one she's sitting in. I'm gonna put in the double wide. I'll put her in the single wide, meaning this trailer I'm sitting in." Tells her that to her face. Mom didn't even bat an eye. Mom didn't even question it. She just sits there, stone-faced. And him telling her flat out what he's going to do in advance. Said, "I'm going to kick your ass out, and I'm going to kick him out of his trailer. And I'm going to put my boys in here." Told it to her face, and she didn't even bat an eye. Not an eye. And so then subsequently, here he comes. Throws her in a nursing home on a trumped up charge that she has dementia, which at the time she didn't have shit. She didn't even have memory loss at the time he threw her in the nursing home the first time. There was nothing wrong with her the first time he threw her in the nursing home. But anyways, throws her in the nursing home. Gets this guy out here to start renovating her trailer, putting new flooring in and shit. For who? Oh, we find out it puts it in there for his boys. He's renovating these trailers for his boys, mine and mom's. Okay, because he's going to boot us off the property. He told her right to her face what he's going to do, and she didn't even bat an eye. That's scary, isn't it? Isn't that scary? Didn't even question it.